Hello and welcome once again to a little bit of a dev diary for the Imperator Invictus mod. Before we go on to the dev diary itself, of course, we'll check out their Twitter. And while there was no Twitter teaser yesterday, there was in fact the Q&A hosted over on Defugel's Twitch channel. This thing was like 6 hours long. There's a lot of great information in there, and I recommend you go and watch it if you have 6 hours to spare. Yeah, it was quite long. So yeah, go check out that. There's a link in the description for it. There was also a teaser a few days ago. It wasn't yesterday, but a few days ago. Not so much teasing what is coming in the dev diary, but kind of confirming something that we had in the previous one, where we talked about the changes to Daidoki Wars, Daidoki Conquest CB, and we have a little bit of a screenshot showing the nice, clean borders that occur with the new system, which, you know, it's looking pretty clean. It's looking pretty clean, pretty nice. I like it. I like it a lot. It's good. So, with that said and done, let us move on to the dev diary itself. Salvete readers! We're going to be talking about food rework, the bankruptcies, Iberia, some new cultural inventions, and a tribal and assimilation tweak. Lovely stuff. Thus far, we've highlighted various flavor additions to different areas of Imperator, but today we'll be discussing various mechanical features we've developed to enhance immersion on a wider scale. We have various exciting items to showcase, including a total rework to the importance of food, a reworked bankruptcy system, new cultural inventions, tweaked gameplay for tribes, and a new assimilation change. We'll begin with a very important change to how food works, and I'll hand you over to President Storm. So, he is the developer of the Harvest Seasons mod and a developer of the food rework for Imperator Invictus. He was also, if you have been following my channel for a while, one of the first ever community multiplayers that I did for Imperator Rome. He played as Judea. I think when I was Epirus, I want to say. When I was Epirus, I think he was Judea. Anyway, yeah, had some good interactions with him. Lovely fella. So, yeah, let's see what's going on here. Ever since patch 1.2 Cicero, food has often been relegated as a minor part of Imperator Rome. Unless you plan constructing a megacity, no one plans on this because no one is silly enough to plan on this. No one is depraved enough to plan on building a megacity because megacities suck. They may not technically suck, but they suck. If you build them, you suck. There you go. But, yeah, unless you plan on being a suck, food is an afterthought. Each province produces a certain amount of food, this being primarily dependent on what terrain the province is. Added to this, certain trade goods are produced, like grain and livestock, also provide additional amount of food. So, nothing new just there. Now, there are issues with it. Wait. Each province provides an amount of food, not just each settlement. Is that what I'm reading here? Is that a change that has been made here? Rome producing food counts all of the imports as well, so we'll ignore that one. Ostia and Veii are both cities, but I'm pretty sure there's more than 3 cities in Latium. We're looking at a good bit more. I think that is what's happened, actually. I should probably have loaded up the mod. I guess this Harvest Seasons mod is also included in the multiplayer mod that I am currently running for the community multiplayer that I've got running right now. Every province producing a certain amount of food. That's really interesting, actually. I like that idea. Trade goods, you know, produce a bit more, an additional amount of food. Yeah, that's exactly what's happening. Even cities producing food is a really cool idea, and, you know, kind of an important one. I like it. I've always said that I thought there should be 2 trade goods. One for, one being a natural resource that you gather, and then another being a manufactured good. So, for example, a natural resource that you would gather, something like grain, something like some fish, something like precious metals, or something of that sort. And then the goods that are manufactured, things like cloth, things like, let me think of what else you have. We've got cloth there. Is there any other pictures that I can jog my memory of what other trade goods there are? Damn it. There's more. I've got a terrible memory. I don't know what I'm talking about. But yeah, there's some, there's manufactured goods. Horses. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. I know what I'm talking about. But yeah, there should be multiple layers. You could have, precious metals, and then you could have your manufactured good be whatever you turn those precious metals into. That sort of thing. It's not just cloth. Glass. Glass is a manufactured good. There you go. I'm with it. But yeah, I've always thought that there should be 2 goods per province, so that you could have food and something else. Yeah, no, that was just completely randomly off topic there. My apologies. Anyway, now there are issues with the mechanic. For starters, it's fairly easy to keep your food production high enough that it will constantly increase towards the maximum food capacity, unless you build multiple cities in a single state, which is, is what Latium starts with, and what you probably should be aiming for is the most efficient way of using whatever. Or focus on developing a anyway, unless you do something you should do, or something you shouldn't do, you will rarely need to import food to keep your population satisfied. Another issue here is now food production stays consistent throughout the entire year, which in many cases is ahistorical. Yeah. There's, I think, having Latium as the example that you're showing, I mean, in vanilla, even without building extra cities, you will need to import food into Latium to keep it fed. Maybe with this change that having every province produce food, that wasn't the case. But there is, there's a change to cover that. So, to remedy this, we've implemented a new mechanic, seasonal food growth. Every December, a modifier will be added to every province in the game that affects the food growth in said province, and this modifier will be lasting until the 1st of March. The modifier that affects a province varies wildly, which depends on several factors. Settlements will have their modifier based on what trade good is being produced in that province, while cities will have their modifiers based on the terrain of the province. Along with these, the modifier is also affected by the severity of the winter, which consists of either mild, normal, severe, or very severe. There should also be another option, unnoticeable, which would actually reduce it by none %, and that can be for the deserts of Arabia, perhaps, because, their winters are kind of, it's unnoticeable. It's still real bloody hot in the desert, I would assume. I don't suppose they're making too much food there anyway, but oh, excuse me. Okay, so every winter you have a massive, colossal negative to the amount of food that you make, which is very interesting. Along with the winter modifier, summer has also been implemented to help counteract this reduction in food production, providing a bonus between June and September. I would imagine that having the Nile and Euphrates and Tigris, the Indus, the Ganges, these areas around these big, very fertile rivers, they should have an extra modifier every summer. It's like, oh, you're in a floodplain, and that means you're really fertile soil for, something like that would be pretty cool to have. The result of this is a more dynamic food system, in which the time of year becomes more important. However, we have done more than modify the local production of food, we've also modified the demand for food as well. Pops in Invictus consume food at a much higher rate than what pops consume in vanilla. Just going on to this, I have noticed this in the multiplayer. It is not unnoticeable. It is actually making an impact. I actually was not aware that the Harvest Seasons mod was included in the multiplayer mod pack. I'm glad it is, because it's an amazing mod. but I was kind of caught unawares when I was like, oh, my province is starving. Why is that? Oh, it's because it's winter and there's no food here. You have to kind of be careful where you place your troops, like your legions, maybe your mercenaries. You have to be careful where you place them, especially in the winter. Otherwise, you may end up starving out your cities. And it makes the granary building a lot more valuable than it currently is. Because right now, the granary, it's kind of nothing. It's kind of not really the most important building in the world. But now the granary is way more important, which is good. Making obscure buildings more important, making historically very important buildings as important as they should be is important, and that's seemingly exactly what's happened here. But anyway, moving on to the pop consumptions in vanilla, we see how much they consume here, and then we see how much they consume on the right. Yeah, it's just, excuse me, a flat increase across the board, which is nice. It's not an even increase as well, like the freeman getting plus 0.1, but slaves getting plus, 1.5. It's good, Sure, why not? With the increase in demand for food, especially among nobles and citizens, both getting 0.2 each, this makes cities much more food needy than they are in vanilla. With these changes, it should prove to be more difficult to build and sustain. That's the third time in this bloody dev diary that we've mentioned bloody megacities, when we've already gone over the fact that we shouldn't be able to build megacities in the last bloody dev diary. When we said that, the aqueducts are going to kill civilization value, so you're not going to be able to build megacities. But then we're talking about bloody megacities 3 times in the same bloody dev diary. What the fuck is this? It's craziness. Don't build megacities, otherwise you smell. Moving on. Now, on to reworked bankruptcy mechanics by J. Philipponus. Alright, so he's bringing a foretaste for some of the exciting economic changes we're looking at. Today I'll be discussing the simple yet powerful mechanic, or modification, being made to one of the game's vanilla features, the bankruptcy effects. To remind those who are financially savvy enough to never experience a negative treasury amount, Imperator has a unique feature to discourage overspending. Rather than a loan, the player is greeted with an event that random outcome ranging from a free gift of the gods to strong-arming the nobles into donating to the state with some steep malices, be it popularity is one. You can have loyalty of characters be, in my opinion, one of the worst malices you can get. There's penalties to research points. There is penalties to stability. So yeah, going negative. Probably the worst part about going into negative money, though, is your mercenaries stop being controllable, and that can really hurt you a lot. That's the biggest painful bit about going into negative money. So yeah. While the random outcome perhaps adds to the desire to avoid such a situation, I always found it odd that the player randomly chooses to plunder nobles or neglect infrastructure. Another odd feature about the event is the random way it would fire. It's not automatic to occur as soon as the negative balance is reached. So, to remedy these issues in an immersive way, several new buttons with original artwork from Nerdman 3000 have been added in the economy window, one corresponding to each of the negative outcomes of the event. These have been modified from the original outcomes for balance purposes, but generally keep to the respective themes of the original. Importantly, these can be pressed at any time as long as the conditions are met. Thus, one could have an abundance of wealth, but still decide to strong-arm their civilians or neglect infrastructure for some quick cash, but with long-term detriment to nation building. Given that there would be nothing hindering a historical ruler from committing an act of tyranny, except for the consequences of such actions, the freedom should add an immersive element into the game. I think this is going to be very, very powerful late game. There are, negative 25% of research points. I mean, that's a hell of a lot. But if you're already well ahead on your research, you could probably do with 24 months of less research. When you're a larger country, of course, getting one of these clicks is going to give you more money. So if you can be like, oh yeah, I won't research for the next 2 years, but in return for that, I get a colossal amount of money that will help me build a wonder or win this war, then that could be really powerful. I don't think it is as balanced as vanilla. This definitely is an imbalance into the game, but whether it's a positive or negative imbalance, I don't know yet. I can see the aforementioned mercenary problem with going into negative money. If you can just click this whenever you like, you can prevent yourself going into negative money at all at any point, which means you're not going to have that issue of your mercenaries being disloyal. It's definitely more powerful, although getting rid of the ability to get a gift from the gods, maybe that is the balance there. But you know, it's certainly interesting, and I like the icons; they're pretty cool. All right. Yeah, no, you know, I like it. I like it. All right, moving on. We have another change to how assimilation works by Discianteres. Good afternoon, Invictus, French translator and contributor for some cultural content for the mod. In Imperator, we're used to creating huge empires and extending our dominion to the edges of the world. However, in this fun project, we're often forced, against our will and unfortunately, to enslave or forcibly incorporate some minor peoples for the greater good, of course. As you may have noticed in your games, the integration and assimilation of different cultures is covered in Imperator by several layers of abstraction. Loyalty, cultural happiness, and often, even if the new annexed pups are very angry, they would eventually assimilate over time, and only express their disapproval in occasional small-scale revolts. We looked at this topic and thought the assimilation of numerous cultures might need more content and flavour. We have a lot of ideas, and we get a lot of inspiration for all the suggestions that are offered on the Discord. Link in the description, by the way, you should probably join it. And several projects are being studied up for later updates. But for the time being, we've agreed to tweak assimilation to make it dependent on unrest. This is a big nerf. This is a huge nerf. Now, the greater the unrest, the greater the penalty for assimilation. This should make the mood of your citizens much more important when it comes to adopting your customs. That is a huge nerf to assimilation. Like, it's huge. It's really, really big. -3 unrest giving -17% assimilation speed is colossal. Yeah. Not sure how fond I am of this one. It's probably way more realistic for sure, but at the same time, gameplay-wise, I can see this being a massive pain. Because, you know, they get unrest for being, or they get pops get unhappy for not being of the, you know, a primary or accepted culture. When they're unhappy, that increases unrest. Unresting slows down the amount of time it takes, you know, to assimilate them. Which means that you're going to have them unhappy for long, which is more unrest, which is, you know, it's a negative cycle of pain. But yeah, I'm sure you've got some ways to mitigate it, so yeah. You may think that the unrest influence on assimilation is not so important. No, I don't think this at all. I do not think this at all, and you're quite right. No, I'm not. I am, but not this. This is no. If you think this, you're quite wrong. No, you don't understand how impactful this is. Unless you want to start to lower your stability to dangerous low level, it should not be much of a problem. No, it is a problem. It's a major problem. It's a major problem. However, what if we consider assimilation speed in a place where assimilating pops are not of the right religion, with the wrong dominant religion and unintegrated dominant culture? Yeah, no, it's terrible. It's awful. It's kind of crippling. Not gonna lie. I will say that it is definitely, for better or worse, reinforcing the idea that you have to do religious conversion first, which is already kind of the case, right? If you are conquering some non-culturally accepted, non-religiously accepted area of land, you religiously convert first. That's just the way. It's the way you do it, right? If you don't, you're not doing it right. it's faster to religiously convert than culturally convert than the other way around. I guess this is just kind of reinforcing that. I guess people, pop conversion speed is not being affected by this then, I guess. But yeah, that's slow as fuck. That is really, really slow. 146 years to assimilate one slave because of all of these negatives. Ouch. Better give the Zoroastrian culture some cultural rights to smooth things over. No, better stop trying to convert them, assimilate them at all. Better try and, convert them instead first. We hope to give you more immersive content to enhance internal management of multicultural empires in later on releases, but we feel this change is the first step in the right direction. Yeah, no, it's probably realistic. It's probably way more realistic, both in the speed of assimilation and, it makes sense. If you're unhappy, you're not going to really, want to learn their language or whatever, So, it makes sense. It's painful, but it makes sense. Next, we have cultural inventions made by Stephen and Dustin. So, Oliver Kranz and Dustin have been working on making new cultural inventions. In vanilla, only the Greek, Indian, Gallic, and Italic cultures have unique inventions. We found this to be somewhat unfair and unbalanced because not everyone had immediate access to these, if at all. So we decided to make inventions for the other culture groups too. For the first release, you'll get inventions for the Iberian and Celtiberians, Thracians, Dacians, Illyrians, West Levantines, Numidians, Egyptians, and Mesopotamian culture groups. We're also working on other regions such as East Africa, Anatolia, Persia, and beyond. We plan to add inventions to most culture groups at some point in the future. On occasion, there'll be some overlap where inventions may be shared between two different culture groups. For example, beer is unlockable by both Egyptian and Mesopotamian cultures, while a few agricultural inventions like the horse mill are available to West Levantines and Numidians. Here are a few pictures with most West Levantine inventions. Obviously, we don't want to spoil the surprise of what they contain, for the most part. So, I mean, you can kind of tell because the icon that you get is the main bonus, right? The main bonus that you get. So, I can tell immediately that this is commerce income. This is commerce income. This looks like build cost, and this is monthly food modifier, I think. Yeah, because there's a percentage. I think that's monthly food modifier. So, for the Carthaginians, going down this tree in the civic advances, this is really bloody good, right? Because commerce income is probably one of the most powerful modifiers you can get when it comes to income. What this, it might be plus 2% each and then be kind of meh. But if we think about the other things that impact commerce income in these invention trees, like we could imagine something like 10 or 15% quite easily, because there are other inventions that give that amount. If that's the case, having Cherry and Purple and Silent Trade be, that amount of commerce income is huge. And something you definitely want to be going for if you are playing as Carthage or if you're playing as one of the Phoenician states in the Levant. Certainly it's really, really nice. But that's not all. Carthage also gets these in the oratory tree. And I say these and I've lost them. Where are they gone? They're in here somewhere. Where are they gone? There. These ones here. Oh, it's in the religious. What do they get in the oratory? I can't actually see anything new here. Is it potentially military ambassadors and mercenary reliance? Oh no, here it is. Periplus of Hanno, Phoenician alphabet, and Council of 104. So, tyranny. What's that? Tyranny reduction over time. Phoenician alphabet would be something to do with culture, of course. Could be non-integrated culture acceptance or something along those lines, or integrated culture acceptance. And Periplus of Hanno is Diplo range, which is kind of useless, not gonna lie. And then finally we have the religious tree, which gives us the writings of Margot, which is, I believe that is population growth, population capacity, and stability gain over time. So these three look, these are all good modifiers. Population growth is a bloody good modifier. Pop capacity, bloody good modifier. And stability, bloody good modifier. So if you're going into, if you're playing as a Carthaginian, you want some writings, you want some threshing boards, and you want to sacrifice your kids. It's just the way it is. It's just the way it is. It's the way it goes. Mercenary Reliance here. No, that's not it. We're looking at Phoenician Alphabet, Council of 104. Depending on what this modifier exactly is, it could be really good, it could be really, but yeah, that is, it's interesting. It's certainly interesting. But that's not all. A few inventions unlock a special decision that is only available to a certain culture group or religion, even if another nation were to unlock it. The decision is obviously not the only thing the invention grants. One of these decisions is child sacrifice in the West Levantine tree, which will allow the sacrifice of a child if you find yourself in a dire situation. The gods can grant some boons to help you out, yet beware, as they could be displeased and the sacrifice could backfire. There are some limitations though, as you can only sacrifice a child once every 10 years. Alright then. More having inventions that lead to mechanics is something that I'm always going to be on board for. It's just objectively a good idea. I like it. Anyway, moving on back to Iberia. So, to Italia, we'll be showing some changes and new content that will be ready for the initial release of Invictus. First of all, some clarifications about the Turdetanian setup. Some of you may get confused about the last dev diary, because I was talking about Carmo, Hasta, and Onuba, but the political screenshot showed the names Karamoya, Hestea, and Onubia. I mean, he's talking about me there, I'm sure, because I did get a little bit iffy on that one. For example, Carmo is the capital of the country of Karamoya. Paradox chose to call nearly all barbarian tags with names finishing in IA, so we thought it'd be nice to keep with the vanilla style for the country name. Compensate this, there you can see the coat of arms of the new Turdetanian flags. So we've got Karamoya, which is beautiful, Hestea, which is alright, Onobaya, which is really nice, Las Cutaya is really nice, Paya is, it's Asinapaya is, it's okay, and Kartubaya is, it's okay. I really like this one, and this one. These three are my favorites here. I like them a lot. And we also have some more here, I guess. This one's really nice. These three are really nice, and so is this one. I love the border on that one. It's gorgeous. That's really nice. Yes. Bloody good flags. I approve. It's much better than the very quartered or halved flags we got in vanilla for a lot of the barbarian nations. It's just kind of meh. I mean, it's hard to come up with flags for these because they just did not have a flag. Hell, even the Romans did not have a flag. That's the SPQR that we see for them. I mean, for starters, the term SPQR or the moniker, the acronym, the whatever, wasn't adopted for the Roman Republic until the Roman Empire was a thing. It was a term that was like set to set us apart from our republican past. That was the SPQR period, and this is the Empire period. Like, SPQR wasn't used during the time of the Republic, is what I'm trying to say. But we use that as the flag in Imperator now, because that's what we associate the Republic with, or what we associate Rome with. But, like, no nation had a flag. So trying to find flags for cultures that had no concept of them is difficult. And I think, for the most part, Paradox have done a really good job of it. But some of the barbarians did get very samey. These look way nicer. Like, every single one of these, even the ones I didn't particularly like this one and this one, they're still better than what vanilla has offered. So, yeah, I'm happy with it. Regarding the new Iberian heritage, we've tried to tweak some of them to better represent the country's values, while at the same time looking to create new, interesting approaches to a Turdetanian campaign. So we got screenshots of the new heritages here. Let's see. I don't like this one, lowering assimilation rate, especially with the changes to unrest. So never plays an Anuban. Leskutans, again, as if you get rid of your overlord, then this is really good, really powerful. Turdetani heritage is quite good. That's quite good. Carmoyan heritage, very, very powerful. Heavy infantry offense is really good. Diplo reputation, it's manageable. Certainly can consider you can get like plus 15 from wonders, so definitely manageable. And then the Arsaean heritage. Commerce income is incredible. Like I've already said, that is one of the most powerful modifiers in the game. So yeah, no, it's good. It's good shit. Fort maintenance, yeah, it can add up, but if you just keep on top of it and delete forts where necessary, then that shouldn't be a problem. Profit maximum, it's okay. It's okay. But yeah, these are some good ones. All right. Another thing I wanted to bring up about Turdetania is the inclusion of a special modifier to the territory of Tharsis called the Mines of Tharsis, as these mines were famously productive and a significant source of commerce for the region, felt warranted a unique province modifier which can be seen below. So we get resource production and slaves needed for local surplus. Works, makes sense for sure. These mines have been used since prehistory and are functional even today. These mines were so important in the classical era that Greeks and Phoenicians usually referred to southern Iberia simply as Tharsis. Iron, gold, silver, and copper. These mines had all the valuable metals a Punic player would like, and the territory may become a goal for any expansionist power in the region. If you're wondering what the resource produces in Tharsis in the game, it's iron. I mean, precious metals, probably, you know, gold, silver, copper. I mean, gold, silver is precious metals. Copper is a base metal, and iron is a trade good on its own. So it kind of, again, kind of reinforces the idea that you should probably have more than one trade good per place, but it is what it is. It's fine. We've also reworked the Iberian and Celtiberian levy templates and created some cultural exclusive templates. Indigenous peoples of Iberia didn't use archers a lot like other barbarians, so we've marginalized them as a residual percentage. Iberians rely on infantry, the Editanian temples in the image below, while Celtiberians prefer cavalry, this is the Lusitanian template. Turdetanians and Turdulians will employ an exclusive template in which heavy infantry have more presence, while Cantabrians, Calicians, and Asturians will enjoy the exclusive template that rely on major light cavalry. Let's have a look at these. Light cav, heavy infantry, light infantry. Okay, is there anything here really standing out? Not particularly, right? When you have light infantry be a significant part of the amount of levies you have, it's what makes levies so weak. So, yeah, I mean, they're all okay. There's nothing there that I'm like, oh shit, that's a fucking great levy, like you have in India with the archers and war elephants in, you know, where Gujarat is. Like there's a culture there that has just archers and elephants, and it's an amazing heritage, or an amazing levy template. These they're okay. They're okay. There's nothing too special about it. Here's a cultural map highlighting the cultures with exclusive levy templates. Alright. And we've been expanding and tweaking the Iberian and Celtiberian military traditions from the Iberian flavor mod. I can't really tell what's going on here, but sure, looks fine, I guess. This one looks bigger than your standard military tradition tree. So, I mean, that's cool. Iberian tree focused on creating a powerful light infantry while it can enjoy some benefits to starting experience as a reference to the Iberian mercenaries and build cost, and city founding as a reference to the Phoenician and Greek contacts. Nice, okay. The Celtiberian tree focuses on creating strong light infantry while unlocking tactics like cavalry skirmish as reference to the famous Cantabrian circle, as well as benefits to the defense as reference to the Numantine defense. To finish my part, I want to show you a little teaser at what will be in the release, but it tells you that maybe more things are coming in the future. So we have here, I mean, this image size is small. We're looking at Canaanite deity of culture. This is a Canaanite nation. Is this one of the nations inside here? Like, I don't know, begins with a B or something, one of them. I'm not sure. I think it is one of the little nations inside Sardinia. Sure, I can't really tell what's going on there, so we'll move on. So, back to Snolet. Salvete, while busy on other work, found the time to implement text spread mechanic from the Bronze Age mod into Invictus. Concretely, what this means is that when tribes mutually trade with civilized states, they will get an event roughly every 5 years where we'll get some tech progress. This means that tribes will slowly advance in technology, and they will not fall behind completely, especially when near the civilized world. This is really good. This is a really interesting way of solving the problem of barbarians falling too far behind in tech. And really, they shouldn't be behind in tech that much. Because if you think about it, the Romans kind of stole technology from barbarians, right? Their swords, the gladius, is a copy of Spanish swords, or Iberian swords, I should say. Their helmet is very Gallic. Chainmail was a barbarian or Celtic invention. These things that they stole or copied or assimilated or whatever you want to say from barbarians. Like, these barbarians were not, of course, completely without, inventions and progress. So, giving them a bit of a leg up because they don't have access really to too many nobles and citizens is a good idea. It's certainly a good idea. And, trade does still happen with barbarians very frequently. So yeah, getting them a good bit of technology points from trade is a good idea. Also made some tweaks to the modifiers tribes get. Mainly, they get slightly higher army morale, manpower, and manpower recovery speed to emulate how they historically fought. As you all know by now, the mod releases on the 30th of June. As I record this, it is the 28th of June, so soon. We finished the content for the first release and now exclusively fixing bugs. As always, expect bugs on release. We're a modding team, not a full-on dev team. We'll make another post on release, but know that we'll be closely watching the release and doing hotfixes as fast as possible. Now, as a little teaser for Wednesday, we've compiled a feature list to share with you all. So, this is what's coming out on Wednesday, on the 30th of June. This is the release that you'll be able to play. Reworked map setup in Iberia and the Balkans, a new food system with varied seasons, increased difficulty, the historical Galatian invasion, game rules for the reworked Daidogi CP and dynastic names, 6 new mission trees, a dynamic background system. Oh, these are the mission trees, by the way. Macedon, Punic puppets, small Black Sea republics, and Carthage. Tons of new custom art for deities, cities, wonders, and more. Tons of deities for forgotten religions. Tons of treasures spread around the world. Dynamic tech spread for tribes. Buff to the early game tribes. Many new military traditions and reworked how you get new nations. New heritage spread around the world. Improved wonder buildings. New content for Hibernians. Tons of balance changes to make the game better. Various new cultural inventions. 4 languages to play in. And various pieces of content. We're glad to see such a positive response from the community. And it has been really positive. For sure. It's been a humbling experience, and we hope we can all enjoy the mod immensely as it releases later this week. Thanks for tuning in to the last DD before the 1.0 release. Fantastic stuff. I'm very excited for this. Like, for sure. This is huge. This is great. Imperator Invictus has been such a pleasure to be a part of, to have a small kind of a small little impact, on the progress of the game after they've misplaced its devs. So I'm really excited for the mod to come out. I'm excited to see how you guys feel about it, and I'm excited to play it as well. But I would like to know what you guys think about Imperator Invictus, and I would like you to tell me in the comment section below who you think I should play as for a series using the Invictus mod. Let's have a look down at this, down here. Do you want me to play as one of the Galatian invading tribes, or perhaps one of the nations defending against the Galatians? Do you want me to play as the Iberians? Have we seen a lot of new stuff for the Iberians, or maybe somewhere in the Balkans? Who should I play as? Let me know in the comment section below, and we'll see what the suggestions are, and we'll maybe have a campaign playing as the top voted suggestion. So that could be a lot of fun. But yeah, let me know in the comment section below what you think. Until then, is it Wednesday yet? The mod's coming out. Go and have fun. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.